Welcome to Distilled Insights, episode number 5. We're here with Paul Mack from EMS Legal Extraordinaire, obviously greatest lawyer in the city, goes without saying.
At least
also, as far as today's topic is concerned, one of the, I'd say the benchmark of business development and sales in terms of professional services anyway. Everything else is fairly average, but as far as that goes, he is certainly the benchmark. And Chris, we've met a couple of times now.
Remembering one's names is very important.
Getting demoted, seriously demoted in this bloody. I'm next going
to. Do you want to give your spiel on the bottle, right?
Well, hold on, you can't just tell me to give me a spiel straight after you give me that bloody crap of an intro. Jesus Christ!
I mean, sorry.
Can you pour my whiskey back in there? That was a Father's Day present.
No, sorry, pardon me. It's right, handsome Chris.
About bloody time. So either way, the joke of the matter is we're drinking Glen McKenna. Now, all those in the know will know that this is a joke whiskey from How I Met Your Mother. But I got this from Father's Day, and I thought I'd share this lovely drop with the reprobates that we have here today. Now, obviously, Paul is only newly come to the title of reprobate in my eyes. He's still very nice man.
I've been working on it for about 15 years.
Pipe down, you. This is my part of the segment.
Sorry,
all right?
excuse me.
But no, Archie Rose, beautiful drop. It doesn't even say how much it's aged. Where's it aged?
It says on the back.
No, it says 35 year, but I know that's just the joke reference from How I Met
But
Your
it
Mother.
might not even be whiskey.
Oh, batch, April 2020. That's young.
Holy shit, mate.
Glen McKenna. I think it's Guy McKenna's brother. But
Yeah, anyway,
cheers.
Paul, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So look, we're very much unprepared and unscripted, which is not unusual for how we operate this thing. But it's an important topic, of which we've already said that you are the benchmark / quite good at. But we will cover off on sales just in general in business as a whole, not just professional services. But you built a astounding career, going from top tier firms to your own firm to back and forth and all that sort of stuff. How? Most important way to generate business?
I think I had very good mentors. Yeah, I think one of the things that when I started the career, I was a global law firm, had really good partners who took me on for client functions, told me effectively how to act. Learn a lot of tips on the way, a lot of observations. But one thing I would say is there's no right way or wrong way to win work. Talks about finders, minders, and grinders, and to an extent that's true. Like there'll be someone that has to bring in the work to sustain the firm, and there's people that need to do the work, and people that just are happy to do that. But I think one of the things that resonates after 22 years of doing this is there is a balance I try to achieve every year, even now, between being too laid back and too relaxed, and letting the work hopefully fall into your lap. Being too hungry and, pardon the expression, but too desperate for the work. Being too aggressive. But suboptimal. I think you need to fall somewhere in the middle. So what I mean by that is you go to lunches, everyone loves a good lunch, everyone loves to wine and dine, everyone loves to go for a beer, everyone loves to take free tickets to the football, free tickets to bloody every function, concerts, whatever, and you go. And after you go, you think to yourself, had a great footy, thanks Chris, great dinner, thanks Frank. And you sit there and you move on and you get on with your life. That's not going to win you work. You go the other way, where you get invited to the football and you get invited to dinner, and that's not going to work either, right? Because all you see really in that sort of approach is you are viewing people as walking dollar signs, right? It's too aggressive. People get off-put by that, and this is just my experience, right?
Can we just get a notebook, because I think Frank needs to tell
Just for everyone watching, I'm looking for my first client.
So and look, there are people that have carved out great careers and have won a lot of work by adopting one of the other approaches, and I'm generalising here, but I would say it is a happy medium. Perth particularly is a very, very small market. Doesn't matter whether you're in accounting, in professional services generally. My motto has always been genuine friends and comradeship first, client second. And all I mean by that is if you can meet someone and you can establish a relationship with them on a personal level, and you don't give a shit, pardon the French, whether or not they're going to give you work or not, you're more likely going to get it because you're building the rapport. If I meet you, mate, and we have a dinner and we have a lunch and we talk about kids, as we did before this went on air, shit whether or not you give me work or I give you work. And that's not being arrogant about it. That is simply being that I'm here for you, you're here for me. Not maybe after the first drink, maybe after the.
Well, no, Chris generally takes 2 to 3 drinks and then
I mean,
whatever you
then you're
need.
in.
Please edit that out for my wife.
Once the sedative goes in, then we're good. No, once you establish a relationship and you
Get
keep
hot
in
with
control
color.
and you remember the kids' birthdays and you remember milestones, next time someone thinks about it, they think about you. That's, in my view, that's how I've been able to carve out the practice that I've got. And I think that's really important.
But I think the additional part of that is critical, and whether you've done a degree, accounting, law, like the professional services for a while, right, and gone as a big firm to start, right, and worked your way somewhere else, or like we have, which is a very different path, which is starting a small business and growing up. I think that one thing that is very much undercooked or not understood properly, particularly by the younger generations and the up and coming people, is that it takes a long time for these relationships to really set in. I talk about it very accurately, but also you talk about the first drink, the first catch up, the first thing. When you don't have any respect, any credibility, or any in the marketplace at all, right? Whether that's as a junior in a firm where you partners have got respect but you don't yet, and you're trying to build your own, or whether you're a new business entering a marketplace, right? It takes years.
Yeah, for it's really important. And
Yeah.
there's
So-
layers too. There's
And
layers.
this is what I was saying. Consistency then becomes important.
Yeah.
Right? But now we're talking about, well, okay, we had that first drink.
Yeah.
We've gone to the footy, right? Or we've gone to a dinner or a lunch or something like that. Like the person who is, there's always someone that is more prominent and less prominent, right? But that is going to be the case, right? As a smaller firm, you don't have work to give out, right? So the only way you stay relevant is being there all the time and being in someone's face and being there, not to the point of desperation, but certainly like you take 5 years to get work out of someone, but as long as you're around every month, right, here or there, or catching up or keeping in contact, building the friendship, then you are destined for a big pipeline of work in the future.
There are
I think,
hundreds
right?
of accounting firms, hundreds of law firms,
Yeah.
to a meeting and telling them, here is my term sheet and my website and here are my qualifications, is not going to get you a job, right?
Yeah, no.
Similarly, going in and being everyone's best mate is not going to get you a job. The follow through is important. I mean, the first meeting, and I'll get to that later, but the first meeting is really important. What you say, how you act is really important, right? But after that, the follow through is important as well. I think everyone at these things accepts that we're all going to have a level of expertise, right?
Yeah.
Unless we're passing ourselves off as frauds. We're all good at what we do. You're good at what you do. I'm good at what I do, right?
Yeah.
But it's that next level where you have to follow through, not just with another coffee, not just with irritating someone, but you listen to them. Listening is really important. And I know I'm digressing a minute, but listening to what they're saying is really important because you need it at some level to product differentiate. Everyone's going to be offering the same accounting services. I'm a lawyer, he's a lawyer, she's a lawyer. We're all, in my profession, we're all insolvency litigation lawyers trying to win the same work, right? But it's listening to what they have to say and seeing whether or not there's any value you can add. Thinking out the square, thinking, I can do this for you. Sometimes you have to take a hit. Sometimes you have to do stuff for free. I know I'm not encouraging that, but sometimes, particularly as a small firm, you need to say, okay, look at that for you. And then don't send them an invoice of $500.
But this is where I
Right,
think
so-
that there's an important layer to add to that, right? Which is not just the product differentiation or service differentiation or offering differentiation. It is the care factor
Yes.
that comes when you finally get the opportunity.
Once you
Right.
get the opportunity.
Right, as a small firm
Absolutely.
or an up-and-comer trying to become a partner or something like that, when you get given that little opportunity,
Can I just
Right.
jump in and just say it?
No.
You know, 'cause were you really on?
When I
you,
finished
you
my
weren't
point,
on gold. You were just
my
look. I
very
care about you,
valuable,
so shush.
my very valuable input that I was going to add to that was
Go on.
you say they need to feel right or understand that you're different, right? So when you first get that opportunity, right, whether that's in 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, or whatever, and then finally the job comes through, right, or the potential comes through. If you do 50 times more than what they're expecting, right, then you're cementing at least their understanding of your technical aptitude and care, right? And so then the work can flow from there. If you fuck it up, right, because you don't have the technical ability and you're the fraud, as you're saying, it will all go away because a relationship only goes so far. You must deliver.
My mentor
Right.
called it Eye of the Tiger. It's about going all in.
Yeah.
Me, it's unappreciate the new workplace legislation and everything that's going around about work-life balance and all that about what's that thing that everyone's doing right now where you can't disturb people after
Hang on. You know what it's called, right?
I'm
you,
aware
where you
of it,
can't
but don't ask
reasonable
me.
hours or whatever. In professional services, I'm very glad there's
Right
a
to disconnect. Sorry.
Right to disconnect.
Right to disconnect. Yeah.
I'm very glad that there's a carve-out. And the carve-out is important because what differentiates us is on a Sunday night or a Friday night at 8 p.m, if the client texts, I'm there. I don't care what is happening, I'm there. That level of That may seem very trifle to people like us who are really hungry and want to win work, but that's the thing that's going to delineate and differentiate between a winner and someone with what my partner used to call eye of the tiger, and someone who says, I'll get to you on Monday. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for your email. Thank you. All duly noted. I'll talk to you on Monday.
Yeah.
All in, particularly when you're trying to win the relationship, right?
Can I just jump in? Obviously, Perth-based, WA. How much of your relationship balance to aggression to take the work is a WA-based focus? Is it be translated to the rest of Australia international, or is that tailoring to their needs?
It's a really good question. I've worked a lot in Singapore and Malaysia. I spent 6 years of my career in Sydney. I think, generally speaking, use WA, and you're right to pick on that, right? WA is a very matesy, communal, collegial.
But I think that their reputation becomes much more profound here because
Absolutely.
it reverberates through the city so quickly.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Right, in comparison to a Sydney or a Singapore.
But you're spot on.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, when you're in a bigger environment and you're in a larger environment, the core principles still remain the same. You really need to. That's why I'm thinking to myself as I'm reflecting through and I'm picking staff coming to the firm now. And frankly, you agree with me with this. I used to think academics look at grades when I'm hiring graduates or senior associates or potential partners at the level. You can have the most brilliant academic mind. You can be the most brilliant person. That's great if you're looking for grinders, right? Yeah. If you're looking for a finder, emotional intelligence is critical.
Yes.
It is absolutely critical. What to say culturally, you're speaking to an Asian, just using me for example, you're speaking to an Asian, what to say. Loose lips sink ships. Honestly, I remember the first 3-4 years of my career, Asian guy coming in from Malaysia, migrant, wasn't really exposed to alcohol. I was literally trained how to consume alcohol by my supervising partners. Macca, don't get pissed. When you get pissed, if you get pissed, don't loose lips sink ships. Don't start out. Act restrained. No matter how pissed you are, take a Panadol. Like I was literally trained to basically be able to consume alcohol whole, jolly. They talk, they're chatty when we're a little bit inebriated. There is the line, right? Loose lips, how to talk culturally, how to talk about things, how to be sensitive, how not to offend, how to know when to joke, these nuances would apply internationally. Right, that's all emotional intelligence.
But that all moves with the reputation that you get and the respect that you get.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we were talking about up-and-comers or people trying to develop a business, to become a partner or do something.
Yep.
A very specific set of skills that you must have to move fast. Because everyone wants to go incredibly quickly. We're dealing with that.
And look, I used to think in many ways that you either have it or you don't. I don't think as much anymore. We've reflected on this as well about, he or she, they're good for winning work and they'll never be a partner or they'll be a partner. I think it can be learned. I actually think a lot of these skills can be learned to an extent. I think that learning really only comes through going out.
I was going to say practice.
You
This
must
is the
practice.
problem, right? This is the problem, right?
You
You've
must
got to throw
practice.
yourself into that whole
But there's
environment.
going to be a limit to how much you can teach. I mean,
I agree.
You cannot take an absolute introvert that can't
Spot on.
string a sentence together in a
Social
tough business
situation.
environment and then go, okay, we'll get there.
And
I just think that's
And Chris, I used to take people under my wing and go, be like me. And like when I can't, I'm really shy. I don't know what to talk. I'm really awkward when I was like, that's someone who comes in and meets you for the first time. Hi, Chris. That's the end of it, and they just want to leave. And there's only so much you can, I suppose, maximize or leverage out of a person depending on their personality. But I do think that people with core fundamental emotional intelligence who have a level of, if that is a word,
they're diamonds in the rough.
Yeah.
you can polish. They can polish.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. But I do, and there's a lot of stuff about this. Like I've seen some podcasts, watched some videos, some seminars and things, read some books about this. There is strategies that you make, if you can make it scientific for the introverts, right, about body language or about you use tonality or how you use things, like you appear to be extroverted or develop charisma by way of being scientific about their approach. Right?
Agree, but then we're talking about something which comes innate.
Yeah.
And knowing how to ride the currents and then throw on top of that just not only the current of your own environment, but the cultural currents of other environments as well.
But this is the skill of what owners need to do.
Yeah.
You can only push someone so far, and at that point, Frank needs to say, or you need to say, that's it. That's how much they can do. You push them too much, that it's not.
Has the adverse effect.
Yeah.
Right.
On the other hand, I think one thing that we need to be reflectful and reflect on, I suppose, is necessarily just need to be us that does it. There are clients out there, and I have a business partner who's remarkably introverted. Technically, really doesn't like any functions. Actually hates them. Actually abhors them. Right? Resents them. But has a loyal client base. And what's the underlying common theme with all of her clients that call her rather than call me, which I love? Every single one of them is reserved, shy, quiet, sheepish.
We do
horses
business.
with courses.
We do business with people that not only that we like, but that we are alike.
Yep.
Right. That is just a
Yep.
reality, right? You immediately form closer and stronger
But
bonds
this is where I
when
got
your
to
natural you
in the
links with
crux
that
of my
natural
question,
right? Yeah.
with the location element, because I think WA is very much akin to that.
Yeah.
It's built on those relationships a lot more than say some of the bigger cities are.
I think so.
But
And that's
once
the sheer
again-
but that's the sheer numbers, right?
Yeah, that's
Like,
sheer numbers.
Yeah, the sheer numbers. But the other thing as well I want to touch on, now that it's flowing, is complacency. Like, the relationship between a client and a provider is,
Remember, lose 6 shifts, we need more.
Just because you have a client and you've got a good relationship doesn't mean she'll be right, X amount of dollars a year. You must nurture and foster. And that does not necessarily mean every year nurturing and fostering, which is blow more footy, do a box, right? Yeah. Down and have frank conversations. Love you, mate. I know we're good. I know you provide us with work. What can we do better? And they'll say inevitably, no, good. Be serious. Like, anything wrong? Any issues?
Yeah.
You okay with the pricing? And I think that is probably something. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I think you continue to learn and you continue to perfect the art and the craft. But one thing I took for granted, I suppose, when I left, set up my firm, really scared, then built it all up, and then went, oh, look at me, got all the clients. Is I went, got all the clients now. Every year I'm good now. That's not how it works, right? It is when you're at the top that you need to consolidate being at the top, right? And go, how are you? Like, you can't take any single client for granted. And I believe that's why it's never achieved. Just because we've got clients and we win work doesn't make us any better than the person that doesn't win work. We need to keep nurturing and having the feedback, and that is not just, I know a lot of law firms out there, I won't name them obviously, but the law firms out there that have incredible budgets. As a small firm, we don't have that budget. Just buy the client.
But also
Buy gifts.
But also
do that.
Yeah,
Right.
to your point on this, right? And you say, and again, there's law firms, accounting firms that are far more transactional than relationship based.
Absolutely.
Right? They're happy to lose clients because they know they can win clients because they take this, they got big budgets, they got all of this sort of stuff for BD. And
I can't
so
afford
on
to
and
do
so forth. But a personal or assessment of what the world is, given how disconnected we are from relationship and have been since probably the introduction of social media, right? Is that it's only going to come back roaring. So the businesses that are relationship based are going to be far stronger in a decade's time than the ones that are transactional.
Yep.
Right?
Well, once
Because-
again, I do think it depends on the business people at the top of the hill. Because, introverted, and let's look at it another way. Hey, you got to have the faux label sticking out. Product placement. Oh, thank you. Yes, the little boss number.
He loves it once.
Makes my eyes sparkle.
Married one too.
Stop it.
The temperature just changed.
Where have you been?
I'm the race card.
But I will add some, or I'll shift it a little bit and ask you a question, right? Because you, as a law firm, which is a little bit different to us in accounting, right? In terms of our targeting, right? And our client retention and the strategies that exist amongst this whole thing. Because our clients are ongoing and recurring. And so it becomes a lot about managing and maintaining the relationship at a client level. But you have jobs and projects and things that happen and they're finite. They're finite in their...
As I was saying,
what they
Chris,
are, right?
litigation, insolvency. No one sues, hopefully, no one sues each other every month. And goes into liquidation every month, right? So for us, we've got some liquidators here and there, but you're right. Like, need to regularly look and search for new clients. And I often say this to juniors who actually do have a passionate interest in trying to build a firm. LinkedIn, okay, I'm massively huge on LinkedIn. I've got LinkedIn, but I use LinkedIn as a tool in terms of identifying connections. And I say, every morning before you start work, it takes 5 to 10 minutes. Identify 5 people in your network. Have coffee with 5. If 1 in 5 converts into something, you've achieved great victory. The other 4, enjoy the coffee. Nothing comes of it. It's all about an explosion. 1 in 5 gives you a job. it explodes. It's like an absolute. It's like a fission effect, right? It's just need one to hit. Now it takes a lot of incredible dedication to actually go through the discipline of hitting people up. It's very easy to say, I can't be asked this morning. I'm
Well, and once again, with the generation coming through, there's almost a natural fear. How many memes have we seen lying around going, the phone's ringing, what do I do? You know, like, text or email, you know.
100%. And when you were setting up, absolutely, and when you talked about this, when you started AB,
1 day a week.
I'm happy to pay.
That's why you paid a premium.
Yeah, I mean, it's too low, because at the end of the day, what's going to separate us, the winners, from the losers, is putting the ego to one side, putting everything to one side. No one in Perth gives a shit about my qualifications, how smart I am, how stupid I am, where I've come from, how successful the firm's been. No one gives a shit about that. All they care about is me. What they care about is, can I deliver the result? And then they care about whether or not I'm able to service them better, right? If I put a CV out there with all my grades, they're going to say, yeah, he's an Asian kid who's really smart. But they're not going to know that I'm going to be able to deliver something that a large law firm can deliver, but for half the price, right? So I think in many ways, I think it's really important to be active, show initiative, hunt things out, right?
But there's no doubt that the result is important. But if we shift gears for a second, I'll shift to another part of this whole process, right? We talk about BD and building relationships. We're building with an ecosystem or a network of people that will give us work. But we're still not guaranteed the work, right? Okay, there's going to be people that we know, law firm, will give an accounting firm a lead, right? And it's warm, it's hot, right? So you don't actually have to be amazing to get the deal done. But if you're sitting in these meetings, right, and you asked probably before your current career, which is around, when you're actually doing work, you get into the meeting where you're actually got to land the deal. How much do you naturally do, right, versus actually assess what's happening? Because one of the things that I find quite fascinating and that I've spent a lot of time researching or looking at is like a room with someone, or don't really know, and controlling that environment to be able to make sure that you land the deal. Do you actually found things in that moment about okay, how are they responding to this, or how are they doing that, or how am I doing this, or do you just all completely natural?
No, I think if you are pre-prepared with a script, you're going to go wrong.
I don't mean script, but I just mean for example, if you're in a
meeting,
if you're
in a backstory.
Yeah, no, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying, okay, I'm at a boardroom table, right, and it's just me, and I got 3 directors on the other side, right, and I'm trying to understand, right, what is the conversation flowing, who's in control of the conversation, who's the one I need to talk to, or who's the one that I need to know to make the decision, and understanding all of this dynamic of everything. How much attention of that do you focus into? Because for me, for example, I'll sit in that, and I know, or I've learnt over my time, certain things where I can do things in terms of body language or talking, or things to then get a response out of them to understand who's the right one, or whether I'm in control or troll. In terms of landing a deal.
Absolutely. You come in with a general script about this EMS is great, I'm great, but
you'll get nothing.
Yeah.
It seems like it's right, and it comes
across.
disingenuous.
This is emotional intelligence, right? You've got a director, or you're trying to land a job, and the director doesn't give a shit about technicalities and what's high-level strategic advice. You calibrate differently. If you're pitching to someone who's highly technical, highly intelligent, and is black letter law, you pitch accordingly, right? But that said, that requires you yourself to be able to be a chameleon to do both, right? If you're going in there blindly talking about high level, and I've seen this before with law firms, high level strategy, I'm a partner, you should know who I am, I'm probably really good. But that's not going to win work from that one, the person who's highly technical, highly precise. You see all the stories, we've got Suits, we've got Boston Legal, we've got all these legal dramas about Harvey Specter swanning in, right? Doesn't know a shit about what's going on, and he wins work through personality.
Plays the man.
That's all well and good, and that works from time to time. But what happens if you've got that's someone who actually wants you to be prepared? And you walk in there, you swing your big dick around, and you're like, oh yeah, right. They're going to think you're an arrogant person.
But this is why, where you said earlier, I'm really important, because fundamentally speaking, the first part of any of those, whether there's 1 person, 5 people, 10 people, a fucking board, a CFO, or is listening. Just listening. Let them talk. Let them talk, and then once you've listened for a little while, asked a few intentional questions, and then gone, now I'm going to decide how I'm going to.
Just go to our being very quiet because I'm doing exactly what Frank's
It's
doing.
active listening.
No,
Not
you're not going to say what I think you're
of
going
course,
to
I'm
say.
going to say what you're going to say.
No, this
An hour into this, Frank and I were actually competing. Not for, we were on the same team, obviously trying to win the job. And I'll give you a context of the job. It was a liquidation, and if this and it will land, will be a liquidator will get his slice. Frank will get the accounting slice, and I'll get the legal slice. We went for a dinner. Within half an hour, Frank and I had lost focus on what we were trying to do, because all we wanted to do was punch one guy on the table, because he had no emotional intelligence, and instead of listening, which is so key and touches on listening and understanding and asking questions about, asking questions not for Chris, asking questions not for the sake of asking questions. We go, okay, well that's WA. What about international? All he did was drop names and about I know that person. It added nothing except a big note himself. None of the relevant people that were going to award the job were impressed at all.
No.
It was irritating.
I literally had a lunch.
Yeah?
And it was not a business lunch.
Yeah.
It was purely a family style get together.
Yeah.
I was going there out of the courtesy of my wife to help support.
Yes.
And I was paired with an individual who decided that they thought I must be a big deal.
Yes.
Which I'm not. I'm just an average Joe bloke.
Depends on the meaning.
Let's keep this PC.
Oh, sorry, his name's not Joe. But anyway,
Let's just keep
that's
this PC. Right? But anyway, all he wanted to do was name drop.
Yeah.
And I walked out of that and I told the wife, and I just said, please don't ever do that again, because
But Chris,
I'm exhausted.
Chris, it was aggravating. Like we were.
Oh, I bet.
But now let's just touch on ego for a second, right? Okay. Truly, right?
I was touching on ego.
Oh, hello. Yeah, no, that's not where my ego is.
Oh, God.
Oh, sorry, viewers. No, let's touch on ego for a second, because I hate ego, but I also love ego. Like, of course we all have egos, because we are actually proud of what we've done.
Yeah.
But there is a way to deliver controlled ego or confidence, especially when you're trying to land a deal. Like, people need to see that.
We call it
They
internal and external projection.
Yeah, need to see that you are actually
It's like he's prepared for this.
truly.
No, it's internal and external projection. So internally, all of us are very successful and we're very proud of what we're doing and we're quietly confident about our abilities. Externally, you don't need to go and dick measure.
No.
You don't need to name drop.
We've seen.
But it was aggravating. Chris.
Oh.
It was
Yeah,
aggravating.
because
Frank,
it's just like
Frank
serious-
and I did not get a word in. So there was no value add Frank, because we had no opportunity to value add. But ironically, he dug himself a hole such that the job's going to be awarded to us by the fact that we weren't him. Now that doesn't necessarily work at all times, but sometimes you win work just because. And I had this discussion with a very, very prominent partner, probably one of the leading insolvency partners in Western Australia, preeminent. And he said, and I said to him, I said, bro, how are you winning work these days? And he's like, I just do what you do, Macca. And I said, no, but I learned from you. I said, are you still doing the same model? And I said, I don't know, what model? He said, I'm just a good bloke. And like that gets me in the door, and then after that, I demonstrate technical excellence, because being a good bloke that might get you a job. Okay, order to booty, you fuck up the job. I'm just a good bloke. I go in and I don't tell everyone how great I am. I don't tell everyone about my resume.
You let the work speak for itself.
Let the work speak for itself.
But I think there's an important we need to quantify this, because being a good bloke absolutely is
Great.
or good person just in general, right, is a good thing, right? But I think what's misunderstood, or maybe not even misunderstood, but the thing is that being good and great might get you in the door, and the negative impact of screwing up a job is 10 times more powerful than just being good, right, in general.
Yeah,
so
I suppose.
for the one lead that you're going to get for being good and like someone to give you an opportunity, if you screw up that opportunity, you've lost 10 leads.
Look,
Right.
let's obviously, the whole crux of this conversation is to say, how do you present yourself in order to get more work? Now, all things being equal, I think technically going forward into the future, especially with the rise of AI and where things are going, a lot more people are going to have the capability of being technically competent.
I agree.
Definitely.
It's almost taken for granted. I think a key takeaway of anyone who's complacent, that's really pre-scripted, pre-rigid, fixed approaches won't work.
It's disingenuous.
It's
Like,
disingenuous.
people
It's
can
just like
see through
like
that.
someone speaks. See the person reading off
Hello,
and doing,
my name is Paul.
and people clap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we spoke about this the other day. So we did our monthly thing the other day, and I'd written a few things that I wanted to talk about, right? And I cannot stand there, whether it's a 2-minute talk about nothing or whether it's a keynote for an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to even consider the idea to stop for a second and look. at something.
Yeah.
Script in any sense, public speaking or otherwise, right? I feel it just takes so much away from the genuineness of what you're trying to do. So whether that's a literal script.
Well, you lose those moments, don't
Yeah.
you?
Then all of a sudden the mood can change and disappear from where you want it immediately without any stress.
I think the other takeaway based on that as well is that you have to be genuinely selfless. And I mean by that is follow through. If you say, we've all been here and done it. If you say at the end of the night, oh, looking, you mentioned something about, let's say, your son is interested, your kids want to buy a cat. And I say to you, just using this as a hypothetical because I have a cat, mate, I've got a cat, really good, good connections with cat head. Let's just use that for a minute, okay? I'll hook you up. And you say to me, thanks, Paul. And in a week's time, I don't do shit. There is a massive difference, in my view, from experience between someone who delivers, that's got nothing to do with legal work, accounting work, whatever, and an email that touches the very heart of going, Chris, for your kids, check out this link. I've told them that for a cat. Mate,
It's powerful.
It's critical. It's
Yeah,
powerful,
sure.
okay? Now, a lot of people think, oh, that's cheesy, mate. It's
No,
not
no,
cheesy,
no,
right?
okay.
It's selfless, right? The key then is, once I've delivered that, and I've given you the link to cat for your kids, the critical error that a lot of people make is a week after, hi Chris, do you have a job for me? Critical error. Never do that.
No.
Because that then becomes tit for tat. Hey, I gave you the cat, man. You got a job for me?
Yeah.
And that becomes transactional.
That's
and
right.
that becomes disingenuous.
Well,
You've converted something from, hey,
you've lost
mate,
the whole natural
Yeah.
chemistry of
Chris
of
says
everything.
he's got a
Once
kid
again,
in year
right.
3 and he's got a kid in year 6. Even if it's something I don't do, the first person he's going to think about, hopefully, is, oh, maybe I might just call Macca. He might not be able to do it, but I'll ask him, do you do this? Because I've actually been there and listened and
And
I've
you're
tried
open
to
to
help.
help.
Selfless. It's not, oh, yeah, they put a tally. Told Chris.
Well, once again, I make the argument of it's like your partner.
Absolutely.
Wife, whatever you want to call it in these day and ages, but don't sit there and get a tally board up. And
It's a wonderful analogy.
Not to self-
and
go-
delete tally.
yeah.
My point system currently not.
It's a wonderful analogy, right? Because it's the selflessness that allows you to put all we're trying to do in our profession, my profession, is if there's an accounting issue or there's a legal issue, all I yearn for the person to do is to think of me. I don't think about whether or not they're going to give me a job. I just want to be in a position where they go, oh, Macca, he's a nice guy. I'll at least ask him. Whether or not I can deliver the job, it doesn't matter.
But
and if I
think
can't do the job, I'll find someone that can for you.
But I think that is probably one of the most important
That's
things from right now is that the objective of any business development, any relationship building in terms of the professional realm, right, is just, I want them to think of me. So there's a lot of elements to this. There's recency and frequency, right? There's, okay, how recent has it been since I've heard from that person, right? Which is where listening comes in, because the only reason you've got to reach out to someone is to either ask for a job or try to show off about something is one thing. But if you're like, oh, Chris is really interested in tech, right? I know he's got these kids, so I've just sent this article, right? This article that Chris will be interested, I'll send that. But I know his kids wanted the cat, right? So I'll do that. None of it's legal.
You've done
Doesn't
none
fucking
of that for me.
because I don't care about you. You've already paid me the money.
That's absolutely spot on. And I think a lot of people think that winning work, and you get this all the time. Oh, Paul, how do you win work? I want to be like you when you win work. Everyone is different. The way I do it is very different to the way boss does it. That's not to say I achieve the better results. Other people can do it in different ways.
Because you've got to be true to your own personality.
Correct.
Because again, we're talking about genuineness. We're talking about the reality of all that. So I'm not going to all of a sudden like a different person to someone to try and get business out of it.
Correct.
Because
Oh, no,
even if I
It's
get a lead,
psychology.
it's
So to say we mimic
Yeah.
who we aspire to be. We
Yeah.
mimic them, but at least in the early stages, in order to try and find some
Common ground.
pattern recognition in order to see what's winning and what's not winning.
Yeah.
Then is
Yeah,
more
but there's
when
a lot
you're
of
trying to
strategy,
win someone's
Well, no, but
attention or affection.
But these are all strategies to understand. Like, it's one of those things where, like, and I talk about how do you understand what's happening in a conversational dynamic, right? It's like, I want to know if I'm actually the one with the most.
He's going back to
right?
his own ego again.
But like, at the time I'm not. But this is how I know how to test it. I'm not winning, right? But mirroring is one of those things. Like, you develop better rapport if you copy someone. So if you're standing with someone, right, and they cross their arms and then you cross your arms, right? Then there's these natural strategies and things like that. Where
But once again, like what Paul's saying, is that it's got to come natural and inherent
Yeah.
within you. You can't just sit there and go, well, that's my tactic now. I'm going to purposely mirror. I'm going to sit there and go, can I have that other cushion so I can be like you?
Well, hang on. I'm going to agree and disagree at the same time, because in the very early stages or the beginning of any conversation, or you've never met this person before, no, you absolutely should copy it technically and follow all these tactics to start it.
Below, please.
Right? No, start it. You absolutely should,
It's
but
really
that's
good.
not.
It's very good.
But this is just tactical.
Does this go well with
Every Asian needs a
No,
pillow.
but we can. I think the shirt's a bit tight. Maybe not being on the gym.
Leave about this pillow?
Yeah. I will say, I agree with that. I will say that
Tactically, then genuine. Right?
I
You need to
will-
understand.
being yourself is very cliched, and I agree you have to. But I think, like, so has anyone watched the film F1?
No. I've been holding off. I'm a massive Formula One
It's
fan.
excellent, mate.
Massive Formula One
Excellent.
fan. But
Really
I'm almost scared
I
because
watched it on the plane.
Brad Pitt,
mate,
he's a good actor, but
Brad.
Genuinely good. Brad Pitt actor.
Brad
Pitt.
Brad
He's
Pitt.
a very good.
he doesn't drink Glenn McKenna 30.
At the end where he's racing and he's that incredibly quiet, surreal, where it's all peace around him. I think this is a very surreal way of describing it, but when you're winning work and you're trying to be in a cocktail function where you've got multiple people around, if you've got 20, 30, 40, 50 people, you go into them. Sometimes I feel like I'm just in this absolute peace because it's my natural habitat. I switch on that mode, and we all have tough days. 10-month-old, 2 kids, we've all got shit going on in our lives and stresses, right? If you project that, this is where the artificiality, I agree, is part of what we do at the start, right? If we go into a function, 30, 40, 50 people, and we're trying to win work, and you're like, fuck yeah, kids does it. You need a level of veneer and an exterior that's unbreakable, where it's just peace and quiet, and you're like, I'm in client mode now. That's not to say you're fake. I agree. You can't be fake because they'll see through it, right?
Yeah,
but you need to have some level of resilience to go, I'm here to win work.
No matter what the fuck is going on,
don't
no
care.
matter what is going on.
I have an
I'm
argument
just
with my
under the
missus.
zone.
I may have got chopped at work. I've got an angry client here. Or I've got a staff issue there. I've got a crying baby at home. I'm all in while I'm here.
I'm entirely backing of that conversation and your points there. I just came off the back of a Profit Festival week.
Take that whiskey, please.
It's all free.
Thanks, Mum.
Where's my ROI?
But schmoozing. It's a whole week of
Yeah.
just constantly being on point. You're talking to people
Okay.
who are completely outside my realm of work. You're representing a board which obviously is trying to show that they're significant, that you're good at what they do. They can put on something that has prestige, and you're there as their representative. And there are times where you just sit there and go, oh my god, I'm literally falling asleep on feet here, and I've got to be.
And you push it.
And so,
But this is not the same topic, right? But
no, it is. We're talking similar things. It's just, what do you call it? I think there's a definition issue.
No,
no,
it is.
but,
It
no,
is.
but what I was going to say is it's not the same topic. What I'm about to say, but
Oh,
it's,
sorry, apologies.
but
Can you be more specific, please?
well, you interrupted me, right?
Please particularize your.
Well, but what I was saying is that, and Juicy and I have had this conversation recently. Juicy's behind the camera, obviously. She's our resident director for today. But we had this
She's also
conversation the other
fallen
day because the conversation was about certain things that were happening in the firm.
Yep.
And it's like, how is it possible, right, that you are the same level of calmness, happiness, energy, focus, dedication, whether it's here or here? Right? Same for BD, same for everything,
Yep.
right? It's an ability to be able to be, well, my objective in this particular situation is this, right? And so I'll just tune into that, right? And everything else goes away. And that is a skill. It's a true skill, I think, no matter what, right? Or
And I
business
think
or
all
otherwise,
this discussion is really important because I don't want the viewers to think be yourself is the answer to BD, because it's not. And in fact, it's about being true to yourself and being authentic, but also realizing that your life is more than BD. But when it comes to BD, you need to put that shit away because you need to be tough.
It's more subtracting elements that would conflict the situation.
Quite,
It's
because
not adding stuff which is not you.
Yes.
Your objective in these situations is this, business or otherwise, right? And if there's anything that's going to take away or detract from that objective, right, it doesn't exist.
But it's such an art.
It cannot exist.
It's such an art because all of the stuff that we're talking about today, and we can go into Descendant, and we don't have time, obviously, but we're talking at such a high level, but then if you nuance it and break it down, then there's the art of conversation, right? How do you differentiate between when you meet someone and go, are you busy? What are the cliche questions when you go to a cocktail event, Chris? Hey, Chris, are you busy? Yeah, I'm busy. How are you? Yeah, I'm
What does your firm do?
For lawyers, the ATO's cracking down, isn't it? Right? Director
Sorry, we're
penalty-
having technical issues. Our guest is seasoned.
Director penalty notices are really up and coming. It's gonna get busy. How do you delineate between something like that, right? The other one, what's your weekend? What are you up to?
Right, shit day, huh?
And then when you tell me my boy is year 6 going to high school, my daughter is year 3, and then I'm looking out the window going like this, there are so many other things that you can talk about. Conversational skills, eye contact, right? Actually being listening, showing
But
care.
this is definitely something which, look, personally myself, look, my grandfather was car salesman, owned his own car dealerships here in Perth, right up there, natural born salesman. This is something that I recognise in myself, that I'm not that. He had the craft.
To have the craft is a wonderful
I
thing.
was way more technical.
It's a beautiful thing,
than,
Chris.
than salesman, and emotional intelligence is definitely not my strong
To be
suit.
able to walk into the room and to be able to command
Oh no, definitely not.
is wonderful.
I'm
That's
one that
really
likes to
hard,
slink in and
right?
find
Very
my
few
fetish.
people can do
That's
that.
really hard. Because some can do it in certain situations, but then some people can do it everywhere. And
And apart from me, I only know maybe 3 people in the world.
But once again, it almost comes to this
do
feeling
it.
of just sheer
Sorry.
arrogance
Because
sometimes.
no one has seen a bald Asian. There's a no, you're right. The
Wasn't,
craft.
wasn't there Ming or someone like that?
No, he's in Guru.
No, there's also-
he's fraudulent. We've just defamed him on air. But no, you're right. Having the craft is beautiful because
Oh, yeah.
it's about saying the right thing at the right time. Timing, jokes, if not offensive.
I still get that wrong myself.
Beautiful. We all do.
Is,
We
is that
all
on
get it
camera?
wrong.
I think I get it wrong myself.
Chris, we all get it wrong. None of us get the delivery right on anything. And
But I think
we're trying too
yeah,
hard.
yeah.
So delivery, that's an important point here. So let's talk about, we know we're very short, we've got a couple of minutes, right? Right, but let's talk about delivery.
I know you
BD, right, work, staff,
Okay.
everything for a second, right? People seem to have this feeling like, let's say you're trying to command authority, right? This might be for BD purposes, you feel like you're the authoritative figure, right? Or you're the non-negotiable, you must use me, right? Or you're talking to staff and going, well, I want them to respect me and all that sort of stuff. Everyone seems to, or not everyone, there's a lot of people that seem to have this understanding that can only be commanded through either terse or intense or angry or staff related or demanding or direct dictatorship, alpha style bullshit, right? But I can tell you right now, I can go into my team or to a BD, you could do the same, and so could Chris, and I could get exactly the same level of respect from a joke than doing something or even having a discussion about, and still have the same impact just by actually acknowledging the situation and doing it the right way.
Yeah.
I think that there's so many tools that you can use to get what you want, right, that people don't understand, right? So, and humor is so powerful, right? It is so powerful, right? Because
but it's high risk,
walks-
high reward.
someone walks
High risk, high reward.
someone walks in, right? Someone comes in the office, right? And forget about the history or whether it's regular or anything like that. You've got a few choices here about how you deliver this thing, right? This is not related to BD, but I think the same principles apply to BD, right? But you've got options here. Why are you late, right? Or, I didn't realise that we started at 9:17. Right? Oh, I guess I'll... No, but with the right tonality, the right context, the right person, the right thing, it's like, I guess I could have slept in for 15 more minutes, right? Laugh. The impact for them is the same, right? So they still walk away and go, well, they noticed. Right? It doesn't matter how you are actually being and delivering these tactics around...
With BD, I agree with what you're saying, but the answer, in my view, isn't about you, Frank, whether or not you go you started, or the smackdown. The answer as to which is better depends on the person.
Well, but I agree. But it's
Right.
that's why I said it. It depends on the situation, the person, the everything.
You're in a cocktail
Yeah,
event.
also better.
If there's 4 accounting firms, Alderton Boudia and 3 other accounting firms, there's 4 accounting firms and 1 client, right? 4 accounting firms, 1 client.
Yeah.
If you're the alpha,
Yeah.
beating around, right, and you're the client one, you risk, and the client loves the alpha treatment, you risk just being the humble Japanese geisha at the back, curled up in a fetal position. and you're never going to get work. And then you wonder why you didn't get work. And then you come back and you say, but Macca, I did what you said. I was a quiet, good bloke. And you're like, but you missed the fact that the client wanted the human growth hormone alpha jacked. You didn't beat your chest. You got a client who
But
wants
that's practice.
right?
That's practice.
But then you want
that's being in 1,000.
But then if you've got a client who goes,
right?
I fucking hate that alpha person and I want the gentle, peaceful guy, and you're going beat your chest, same problem, right? And you're like, Macca, I was so authoritative. I told them I'm really good. I didn't get the work. That's because you failed to read the person. So I think that's about
That's what I'm
actually.
saying. You've got
It's
to have
about
the
reading
ability
the
to be all,
employee.
any
So
and
if
all.
you've got an employee that reacts better to the trolling,
Yeah, but everybody has to be delivered.
why I believe
And so
the
we'll-
psychology degree would have been so much better
yeah,
for everyone.
Yeah, so
Right.
sales and BD, the same message to 10 different people.
Yep.
10 different
100%.
right? Because of either the relationship and rapport that I already have existing with said people, or their personality.
This person for the first time, it's really hard.
On a pure cold case situation, you work in the room, you do not know this person from a bar of soap or how he's going to react or she's going to react. There's obviously some strategies which you employ.
Well, I've got you go. Then I'm,
Yeah, so
I wasn't asking.
mine are going to be better.
cold stranger, you're talking about cold stranger. You know, yeah.
Just cold, you're in some form of meeting environment, some conference, at least you're there for some brief. You're generally in a room for some reason,
Yep.
and you're having just pure, you're not going to go up to some random in a coffee shop. I think we need to talk.
I stay away from the generic questions. I also stay away from this is like those books. What's that pickup book?
I know what you're talking about.
The negging book where you how to pick up.
Yeah.
I stay away from corny, cheesy questions, but I stay away from the are you busy? The ATO. I stay away and I stay middle ground. How you going? How did you find this? How did you find that? And within 2 or 3 innocuous ones, just how you and I were talking. How you going? What's been happening?
That's so exposed.
Right? You get a gauge of whether or not they are open to banter and joking.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was about to say.
Right? You read,
Yeah.
you take the temperature within 5 minutes, and it can be, you don't need to be cheesy and talk about how is the weather, but you can just talk about their life, and then you can read the temperature of whether or not they're technical, whether they're nerdy, whether they're boring, whether they're not. All of these are not criticism, right? You could be really nerdy, boring, geeky, whatever, and be amazing. It's about quick profiling. I know that's terrible to say because you're profiling and you're judging someone, but all you can do is you get dealt the cards you dealt, right? And then you do the best you can from the situation.
But mine, obviously much better, but a bit more scientific, right? But no, I do 3 or 4 things, right? So first of all, always a joke, right? Most often, self-deprecating, just to see how they respond. It's just literally just to see how they respond. Second thing will be I'll say something technical, right?
Yeah.
After I've already asked them about their industry or their business or their something like that, right? And see how they respond to that,
I
right?
like this.
And sort of see how
like
that goes, right? And then after that, then I'll say, do you know who I am?
The first 2 are good.
What I'm saying is like it's always going to be
God.
it's always going to be
The third
right?
person, this is like one of my pets. Don't forget, mate, we may be in it to make friends and to win work and to have colleagues and comrades. They may not want to do that.
No.
Within the third question, you can go, you know what? You're not even fucking interested in whether or not I want to talk to you. In which case, that's okay. That's all right.
No, but I suppose, and for someone who's not as, I suppose, on the ball with this sort of stuff, because I've always been more analytical, behind the scenes, number crunching kind of person. So for me, schmoozing comes as quite a high cost. It's quite a lot of effort, quite a lot of.
Please.
No,
You're
no,
so
it's-
full of shit, mate.
For people that
God, you're full of shit.
have a relationship with, I
Juice is
really
behind the camera.
people that I've got to on the beat. I'm on the work clock. I've got to make friends. Well, you know what? I'll take that one. I like that one. I get called Pacey quite a lot from Dawson's
You're
Creek.
like a mix of
true.
Robbie Williams and
That's
Pacey.
true. That's true.
You're like Robbie Pacey.
Yeah, that's true.
No, you're
Except
skinny
less
Pacey.
cool on both
Pacey
fronts.
got very bloated, Chris. You don't have the water retention, so you're like a skinny Pacey.
I'm on the GLP ones.
I feel like this is we're derail. We're about to derail and go down a dark path,
Chris is Ozempic Pacey.
which is so weird because he's fat. And let's. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure having you. It's been Paul Mack. Thank you for sharing some wonderful insights and somehow appearing to have been well prepared, even though we only asked you yesterday.
This is the way.
And for showing up despite being morbidly obese.
Until the next one.
See you for episode 6.
Cheers.
Thanks, Paul.
Cheers. Cheers.
You got nothing in there, I do.